So lockdown 3.0 is coming, and they're now talking about what it's actually going to look like in London and in cities all over the UK. And it sounds like it's going to look much, much worse than what we saw in October and November. And by a new study that was done with businesses across the country, they said that in a tier 2 lockdown scenario, which is what we had here in London before the full lockdown, 76% of businesses are completely unviable. That's under the tier 2 lockdown, not compared to the tier 3 lockdown that was happening with our friends in the north up in Manchester and Liverpool. That would absolutely decimate the businesses. And yet, the rumors is that this next tiered sector of lockdowns is going to be even worse, even more draconian than the first. I'm hearing of curfews even earlier than the 10 p.m. I'm hearing of more restrictions on businesses, more restrictions on gatherings. And one of the members of Public Health England came out this week and said, for every one day that we can allow some sense of normalcy around Christmas, you're going to have to endure 5 days of solid lockdown. And that means if they give us 5 days of what might look like a somewhat normal Christmas, where we can see our friends and family and loved ones and celebrate with our community and go to our places of worship, they're going to charge us with 25 days of draconian lockdown. And of course, January will be back in to more of these cycles of shutting things down and maybe opening them up and shutting them down again. And yet when we look, the cases were dropping nationwide back in October, even before this latest tier 4 lockdown behind the country. And of course they were dropping. The R number is now rumored to be moving down to 1, and yet we still hear the same message of lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. And it's clear to me, and I think it's clear to you, that the government needs a new strategy. It's not the moonshot program. We talked about that yesterday. Testing everyone is not the right idea. And it sure is not locking down entire chunks of this country to protect the vulnerability of a very small few. And again, we've got to go back to the science. I've got two gentlemen on London Real today, one from the Office of National Statistics and one a very prominent businessman here, who both say this is the wrong thing to do. We've got to get London back to work. They quote some of the findings of Professor Martin Kulldorff, who I had on my show this week from Harvard Medical School, that said it's 1,000-fold difference in vulnerability from a child to an 80-something-year-old. And we must treat the virus like this. He said there's no point in even testing anyone under 18, and all of those people should go back to school and go back to work. We need to protect the elderly. We need to protect those in our care homes. We need to protect those with other ailments. We need to protect any workers over 60 years old that are out in the public. Other than that, everyone else can go back to work. And yet our government tells us a completely different story, even when Stanford University scientists, Oxford University scientists, Harvard University scientists give us the data that proves otherwise. Unfortunately, they have conditioned you and me as the public to accept lockdowns. And so that's what we do. We just nod our head and we go, we shut our businesses down. We watch our bank accounts go to zero. We watch our mental health go to zero. And they're going to do this over and over again. And don't kid yourself, this is not stopping unless we put our foot down and say, no, there's got to be other solutions here. And that's what I'm talking about. New solutions to get London back to work, to put our science first, to make a proportional response to this virus, and to show real leadership in this city and this country. That's what we're looking for. Leave me your comments below. Tell me if you're expecting another system of tiered lockdowns. Tell me below if you think it's enough is enough and we've got to get back to work. I really want to hear your comments. I want to take London in a new direction. I am confident that we can make this city world class once again. Let's do this.